Now, the head of the Metropolitan Police, the Bernard Hogan Howe, says a policy of automatically believing alleged sex assault victims should be dropped. He wants to see officers investigate with what he calls an open mind. You'd like to think they'd always have an open mind, wouldn't you, when they're investigating anything, that you don't automatically believe something somebody's telling you.
I think sort of things have got a bit blurred along the way. I think he's absolutely right to make this distinction, because if you think about it, the job of the police is to listen to somebody, investigate, and then present a file to the CPS, who then decide whether there's enough in that file to proceed to trial. And somewhere along the way, it's got a bit muddled, and there has been that thing of we will believe everybody, which is the police sort of judging the outcome before anything is actually...
And they were very publicly saying that, weren't they? We will believe you.
You know, so I think that's one issue. And then you get down to the road of it suddenly becomes you're guilty until you prove your innocence, which is, you know, the pendulum swinging the other way. So he's right. It's a difficult job that the police have to do in charting this course. But I do think, you know, Keith Vowes at the Select Committee into a case like this, he said... he called for an end to he called it the flypaper practice of arresting, naming, sitting back and seeing what sticks, which I think will resonate with an awful lot of people who have been accused and then find themselves all over the newspapers. You know, and the media plays its part in this, but the media is allowed to report these cases because there's no anonymity. So I do think, and I've written about this many, many times in my newspaper column, if you get to the point where you don't name somebody until they're charged, then the veracity of that claim has to be... The evidence has to be there for that claim. The minute that they decide that there's enough to charge somebody, you then name them, and then all the other people who are victims of this person, or alleged victims, can have their day in court too.
But there had been a case saying, but if we hadn't have named some of these high-profile people, enough people wouldn't have come forward to be able to get a conviction, and some, you know, has gone through to a conviction and they're serving time.
But that's the flypaper practice. That's, you know, each case needs to be judged on whether that case has... You know, there are certain court cases I've covered way, way back where there's a pattern of behaviour that the jury are not allowed to know about. You know, each case has to be tried on the evidence surrounding that accusation.
But on that point,
the point I'd like to make just before you move on to a different aspect of it, I mean, I absolutely agree with you that I think that the accuser has to be absolutely sounded out, and both parties in a way have to be charged before anything is revealed. And actually, I'm going to read out Emma's statement in a minute because she's phoned in with that very point. But the thing is that if that process was put into place, it means that if the accuser was charged, other people who feel that they have a case with that particular person, they would be able to come forward and be involved in that case, back up that case.
No, exactly.
And so it's not like they would be ignored, because I agree with you.
No, but there would be others saying, but that person might never be charged,
but you know
because
what,
there wouldn't
Ruth?
be enough people to say...
I don't think it works like that.
But all you have to do is put a flag in the sand. A flag in the sand, so you say no one is named until charged. If the police feel that there is a reason why that person should be named before charged because of what you're saying, they simply go to a judge, an independent judge, who looks at it and can lift that ban for that case.
I tell you what I don't understand, though, in all of it, doesn't matter what case you're talking about, it's the delay in dealing with it. I mean, you mentioned Cliff, for example. Now, I'm not saying anything that Cliff hasn't already said and exposed, so I'm not sort of divulging any sort of secrets, but it is in his second year, and it's torture. I mean, it is torture that you go to bed with that thought at night when you feel... In his case, he feels he's innocent, and I'm not passing judgment on that, but that's what he feels. So he goes to bed feeling innocent, and he wakes up with in the morning the same thought, goes to bed with it again at night time. I do not understand the time it takes to process. Because it's torture. And I mean, look at Jimmy Tarbuck. Jimmy Tarbuck was on this programme.
Jimmy Tarbuck, Matthew Kelly, Paul Gambaccini, all those people that have had to go through that process, and surely they should have checked to see if there was enough evidence before they named them.
I don't think it's Cliff, it's the toll it takes. We've all seen pictures of him. It's the toll it takes on that individual.
Yeah.
And even
their family.
Yeah, and the family.
Yeah.
And even if he is totally cleared, and those people, other people that have accused him, are never named, Cliff or whoever it is, Paul Gambaccini, etc., got to live with that for
Yeah,
the
because you
rest
put
of
that
their
into
life.
Google, any one of their
Put it
names,
into
and that'll
computer.
come up.
And
with
also,
names.
you mustn't forget, I mean, obviously with celebrities and very high-profile people, I mean, it's awful and it's front-page news, and often when they're found innocent, it's the tiniest little paragraph when they're found not guilty of anything. But also people that aren't in the public eye. I remember a long time ago reading about, I think it was a head teacher somewhere, and one of his colleagues had taken a fancy to him, made a pass. He said, very flattered, thank you, but I'm happily married. So rebuffed her, and she then started this campaign and said that he'd sexually assaulted her in a stationery cupboard or something. And his life was ruined. He ended up moving, even though he was cleared. And she was, the judge had, said she's a complete fantasy.
I mean, we have to be very, very careful. There are a lot of genuine cases, and every accusation accusation must be investigated, because otherwise somebody who's been a genuine victim is not going to come forward because they think they won't be believed. It has to be that middle course. And the thing is that times change, and social media in particular, one tiny little nugget of information goes like that, goes like that. And I believe because of times changing, sometimes laws have to change. We're dealing with laws, some laws in this country that go back to,
For more Loose Women action, click here. And I'd subscribe if I were you. It's totally free, and it means you'll be kept up to date with new videos and exclusive YouTube content. Well, she's hardly got her tongue down this throat.